Hi everyone, and welcome back to Evi Turquesa Dot. Okay, this is gonna be another type of video because in this one I already started this. I couldn't wait. I had this on my desk as I had shared in my video before, which is the one that it's uploading right now actually. But I already did my voiceover and everything on it. But this one I had on my desk and I wanted to use it. And I felt like doing like a whimsical type of tree to incorporate some of these owls in it, just to create a fun page with this. So I'm planning on using this big owl here, and then these, and this one here. The rest I'll be using on something else. The tree I already made my own, and the rest don't really match the type of look that I'm looking for. So I won't be using those, but I will be trying to incorporate those three. And what I ended up doing was working with the watercolors, and the ones that I used were the Prima Tropicals. Those were the ones that I decided to use. And just because the colors that were on it were the ones that I wanted to play with. So I used this blue here, and then I used the two greens and that brown for what I did already. So I've created my tree, and I've done the grass down here. And the tree and the grass I'm happy with. I'm just not happy with the way the sky turned out. And I think it has to do with the type of paper. It's a mixed media paper, but it's not watercolor. And I don't like the streaks and this little separations that happened as I was doing it. So what I'm planning to do now, and I don't know if I'm totally gonna like ruin this, but I invite you to join me as I experiment. I'm thinking, this might be crazy, but I'm thinking that adding some of this to that background might make a difference. Or at least it's going to change it up. And I'm not going to use it as streaks, and I'm not going to spray it. I'm just going to spray it onto the mat here and dab it on just to break out whatever's happening in that background and make it look completely different from what it's looking. I'm sorry, I left to get a brush. And make it look just completely different from what's there. But I'm inviting you to join me in the process of doing this to see what happens. The worst that could happen is that I don't like what it turns out to be, and I have to start all over because I still don't have my owl, so I won't lose those, but this I can always do again. So let's try out and see what happens if, and I don't even have water with me, so I'm doing this crazy style. I'm just going for it. I don't care. I feel like being daring tonight as I wait for my video to upload, and I just totally stain my hands. But then again, it's part of what I do, you know? Just play. Let's see what happens if I start applying some of this, dabbing it on, and trying to make a difference in this paper. I'm already liking the color. And it's flicking some color in other places, but that's okay because it's just mixed media madness happening here. And part of the problem is that this brush has like some funky long hairs that are like coming out, and I'm not liking that. So I'm gonna have to look for another brush to play with because I don't like what's happening with that. It's just funky. So I'll just dab it. I changed brushes and I'm dabbing with this. Just to get it close to that edge because I don't like how that's separated. And I'm going to have to go get water probably. So let me pause this for a second and I'll be right back as I get water. Okay, so I'm back with some water. I'm going to spray a little bit more of this. I don't think I'm going to spray it because I'm getting it all over the page. I mean, all over, like, everything. So I'm just going to drop some on the table. I mean, on my mat. You can't really see it, but I can't do a wider shot right now. So I'm just going to... And it looks completely different, right? Because I'm doing this now. Different brush. Oops. I keep making things mixed media, right? I keep mixing up my materials and my mediums, but that's part of like what I like to do. And it's probably going to separate again. Yeah, it's happening again. There's something with that edge that... This is not the right paper for this type of project. But I'm liking the color. I just don't know if that big blob of paint is going to have me going crazy trying to fix it, just because that's something that might bother me. And that's something that happens with watercolor. It picks up the... Sorry, I keep putting my Spanish as I go through my thought process. But it picks up whatever, whatever color you have there. And since this is like a stain, it stays wherever I put it. Yeah, I might be losing this. Because I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But we'll see. I'm even having to go inside of the areas that I already painted and that I liked. So if I ruin the ones that I like, I'm not going to be too happy. I really, really messed up there. So I'm going to have to... See, I'm getting paint all over. That's the only reason I don't like sprays. They're like totally out of control. And I don't mind when it's like on the surface that I'm spraying it on. I just mind that it gets everywhere else. Does that happen to you? Am I the only one that has like an issue with like having sprays go like everywhere? Your hands, the surface, it just goes everywhere. It makes a mess onto other surfaces that you don't even want to be playing with at that moment. Okay, so basically you see what's happening here. So I'm just going to pause this and I'll come back as soon as I have more of the areas painted. And I'll share that with you because you know what's going to happen now, right? But I'm filming on my phone and I don't know how much time it's going to give me. Okay, so this is how it's going so far. And I ended up just dipping the brush into the mister. So, and I don't know if I shared this. Did I share that I was using the Deco Art Media mister? And this is the Primary Cyan. Anyways, that's what I'm doing. I'm dipping into the... Sorry, I have to get a wipey here. I'm dipping into the bottle and just grabbing the paint straight from there so I can get bigger blobs of like paint. That's a very technical word. but I wanted to be able to get little puddles randomly created in different places so that it wouldn't show the mess that I made at the bottom. My beautiful oops. That's what I always tell my students. You never know. I mean, when you think you've made a mistake, there's always a way around it. And sometimes it turns out even better when you play with what you ended up with, you know? Sometimes that little oops just makes you do something you were not expecting to do and helps you discover something completely different with what you're creating. Which is fun. I think that's part of the fun of creating and playing with all types of mediums. You start out with a plan and then you let yourself go and start playing, and you end up with things that you never even imagined that you were going to end up with. And again, the worst thing that could happen is that you hate it and you turn the page and start something new somewhere else. It doesn't really, it's not a big issue, you know? It's just letting go and enjoying your time while you're creating without making an issue out of it. Especially if it's like a little mistake. There's always a way around it. Something new might come up with what you end up doing with it. And that's what's happening now. I'm gonna pause the video again because I don't know. Again, with my phone, I don't know how much time I have, so I'll just pause it right here after I do this part. And I'm gonna probably go with my watercolors over my tree again, like my edge of the tree, so that but I wanted to stop again and share this part. I'm not gonna share the whole thing, but you get to see what I'm doing, and maybe it'll help you imagine like the whole process throughout the whole video, but not me sharing every single part of it. So I'll be right back. Okay, so this is how it ended up looking so far. It's still not dry. Excuse me, I just finished it. So it's still not dry, but I think it looks so much better. We'll see how it looks when it's completely dry. And I will be going over the tree again with the watercolors just to blend it in better to the edges and make it just cleaner wherever I invaded my tree with that ink, because I was playing loosely with it with that brush. But I think it was a good experiment, and I'll be back probably tomorrow. I'm just gonna leave it here, so I'm just gonna say that this is gonna be part 1 of this video, and when I do the tree part, maybe I'll just film it tomorrow, and then we'll add the owls and see how they look. They might have to go through a process too, just in order to blend it together with the tree here, or I'll end up doing my own little owls inspired by those. So we'll see what happens, you know. It's an experiment, and I'm going with my just the creative spark that started from that little tiny sticker set that came from the dollar store. So we'll see you soon. Hope you enjoyed this part here and the experiment that I shared with you. And yeah, come back for more Evie Creates this summer. That's my new motto this summer, as I promised. So I'll keep on sharing as much as I can. See you soon, and thank you. Besitos, everyone. Take care.